everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody had a good day. Hope everybody participated in their recovery. I've been anticipating this night all week. I know my guest has too. Please share the stream, guys. If you guys are part of a recovery group, please share away. The more we share, the more we may reach, the more we may help. That's what it's all about. Welcome to Friday night recovery, Friday night unfiltered. That's what I love. Unfiltered, uncut, and raw story, experience, strength, and hope. I'm excited, guys. We've been waiting for this real live, uncut, and unfiltered share for a while now. The hires above, we had to postpone for a little while, but that's okay. Life showed up and we dealt with it. I got a special guest tonight. He's from California, and I hope his story, his experience, strength, and hope inspires you guys. I hope it provides some encouragement. If someone's out there struggling tonight, listen up. This might get you through that day. It might get you through that evening tonight. That's what it's all about, guys. If you're struggling and you're on the fence, not for sure if you're going to make it through tonight, listen up if you're listening. I love each and every one of you guys. I'm going to bring Zach on screen here real quick. Drop some comments in the chat, guys. And please share away. I'm going to bring Zach on now. Bring his picture on here and dual the screen up. Welcome, Zach. What's up, brother?
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we've been we tried to do this a week or so ago, and life showed up. But
Yeah.
here we are tonight. We're not having the difficulties that Sandy and I had when we went live, which is amazing. That's our higher power working on our side tonight. But without further ado, guys, I am going to shut up. I am going to let Zach introduce himself, and I hope you guys enjoy. Zach, have at it, brother.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I wanted to first off saying thanks for inviting me. Thanks for inviting me on your podcast, and this is really a treat, to be part of a recovery warrior, as they say. That's how I do consider myself a recovery warrior, a survivor. My name is Zach, aka Milkman, and I am definitely an addict alcoholic. Um, and I'll just start by my story, and hopefully I usually try to speak to the newcomers, the people who are new, like Joe was saying, struggling, on the edge, teetering a little bit. And hopefully my share and my experiences and can help you at least through one more night, and that's what it's all about. And so I'll start with this, I had 14 years at one time, and I slipped for 4 days. And now I have 2 years. Well, I celebrated 2 years on the 14th again, and that's a miracle in itself. Just by me able to make it back. 4 people die of relapse every day, maybe even more in COVID. That's just relapse. That's sad. And what that makes it to me is real. This is life or death for me. I don't come into these meetings. I don't come into places like this to look cool, be light, all that stuff. It's nice and everything to be light and to feel part of, absolutely. But that takes time just like anything else. But I have to do me first. I can have all the inspirations I want, which I do, but I have to do it for me. Otherwise, there's no we. And this is a we program. Any program you're in, any type of recovery, it eventually becomes a we thing. Eventually, if you're serious about it and you're doing the action, not just sitting in the corner, sitting in meetings. There's more to it than just meetings and things like that. So age one, I was born in Iowa, unfortunately. Been back once, and that was that. Usually I just fly over and back over. But so from the age of 1 to 4, we moved to Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. And my mom, because my birth dad was in the military, and they divorced when I was 4. Um, I remember coming back to my mom. I do have memories of Mobile, um, mostly all bad. Um, red ants, you know. Um, I won't talk about the people, but just it was scary for a 4-year-old to be there. So I came. My best friend was Billy, and I'm like, "Hey, mom, I'm fixing going down to Billy's house," and she's like, "We're moving." Right when I said that, so I came back to Cali, and the accent started to fade away a little bit, and I've been in Cali ever since. Southern Cali now. I'm actually in San Diego now, and I grew up in a town 3 hours north. Um, so at the age of 4, we moved out here, and I got and with my mom. And my mom at the time, which I didn't know, was using then pills for old injuries. She was a on her way to the Olympics for gymnastics. She's in the Hall of Fame for Olympic at the Iowa Hawkeyes College and all that for that gymnast and stuff like that. And so she, after she shattered her arm and things like that, she got hooked on pills and all that fun stuff. Um, I didn't know that then. So I got to see my birth dad every other weekend. He was stationed in Long Beach. So we met in LA every other weekend. I was really close with him all the way up to the age of 11. I mean, I called him dad. We hugged because we went and we had a lot of fun, and things like that. And then I won't get in that ball of wax. At the age of 11, he took off on me, and that's a whole nother part of my story. Um, and then so my mom remarried when I was 4 and a half. She remarried a guy, the guy I call dad to this day. The dad I was talking about is I call father now. But the dad that I'm talking about, yeah. So at 4 years old and 5, yeah, I thought he's this big guy. He's an ex NFL player, 6'3", 220, iron shithouse, you know. But he was very kind to me, and he kept the abuse that he was giving, hitting my mom and things like that, a secret. I had no idea until we moved to our next house, the age of 5, 6, 7, around there, and that's when I started getting smacked around. Not smacked, man punched, and I learned not to cry real quick, or run like a deer real fast. One of the two. Um, but at the age of 8, we moved again into a condo, and I'll never forget this. And I'm sitting downstairs, and I was watching the tube or something, and I think it was on a weekend. And my mom and him were spatting. I was used to it, and he just went boom, and he headbutted her. Her nose just shattered, blood everywhere, all over me, everywhere. You know. And I looked in his eyes, and I just got out of the fucking way because I thought he was gonna, steamroll my ass. And he went left. I don't know. I don't really care where he went. I'm glad he left. And I'm tending to my mom. My point is, by sharing that, is that that's where my innocence stopped. That's where I stopped being a kid. I was a little man now. I got to protect my mom, right? And so with that comes a lot of, future damage just in that alone. I couldn't relate to my other friends at the same age at the same things they thought were cool. Like, big fucking deal. I always hung out with kids older than me in that the rest of my life because of that reason. I was abused physically, mentally, emotionally, and sexually by my babysitter. And that's the first time on screen that I've actually, especially to the world here, I guess, that I've admitted that. But I'm secure enough now because of the work I do, and I'll explain that later in NA, and I'm an NA guy and AA. But the steps I do and the work I do on myself, meaning the inside of myself with my higher power and a mentor, meaning my sponsor, I write steps, and it helps me to heal. It helps me to get out this inner gunk, and replace it with recovery and love, and then give it away, because that's what we do. And I'm on borrowed time, so I feel it's one of my purposes. Um, so with all that, at the age of 8, 9, 10, we moved again to a house, and the abuse got worse. My mom's pill addiction got way worse. My dad's a raging alcoholic to this day. And so I basically created my own little fantasy, my own life with the only thing I could control. So I'm a nerd, man. I don't look like one, but I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I love fantasy shit. And so I got really into comic cards and that was my hustle too. That's how I made money. Collect sets, sell them, make money, or baseball cards or whatever. And I still have a bunch of those cards to this day, just for nostalgic reasons. But the reason I did that, I can jump into that little world and I can control that world, that fantasy world. Outside of that, I had no control, and still don't. But I'm okay with that now. But that came in time, and I'll talk about that later. Um, so dealing with all the abuse and all that, my dad also taught me how to play basketball in between all this. I was a decent athlete. It came from both sides of my family. It just came natural for me. I'm 6'4" on a good day. I can straighten out my scoliosis. But about 210 right now, about 235. We talked about that earlier, but that's daddy weight. That's okay. Um, but I was solid. So I dominated in basketball at my high school just because I was a point guard and I had the advantage over every other point guard that guarded me just because they were 5'7", still growing, and I was already there. So I just had the advantage. So anyway, I going with my mom. Okay, so the age of 10, my mom divorced the dad I call dad, the NFL player, divorced him as I'm going into middle school. He lived 5 minutes from me. I saw him maybe 3 times in the next till I'm 18 years old. Unbelievable. Something I would never do to my kid. So what I did was I broke the chain in a lot of ways with my kid, and we'll talk about that later. So I basically had no guidance. I had no sounding board. I had no male role model. I had my mom who was here, but she wasn't here. Um, I could do whatever I want. I had to set my own boundaries. I had to set my own curfews. And what I chose to dive into was school and basketball. And academics came easy for me. I don't know why. It just did naturally. I don't know why. I actually graduated early, the 3.33, which is a B average, but I could have done better if I put more effort into it. I just didn't give a shit, but I had scholarships coming out of high school for basketball, Maryland, LSU, and Washington State Huskies. So, but during this time in high school, before I leaped to the scholarship stuff, that's where I first had my first drink and really, really got drunk was when I was 14. And what happened was I came home with a bunch of my friends, everything, and guess who bought all the alcohol for Long Island iced teas? Thanks, Mom. Mom of the year. And so she bought all the shit, mixed it all for us, watched us all get ripped out of our minds. Went, and then it turned to a party. And then the next thing I know, I'm on my roof smoking a clove and looking at one star. It turned it into three. I'm throwing up off my roof. You know what I mean? That was my first experience. Thanks, Mom, once again. And um, but it didn't stop me. It didn't mean I drank every day after that, but what it did was it taught me um, I liked it, even though I threw up in it and whatever. I liked that feeling, before you go overboard. And so I partied a little bit through high school, and I threw big parties in high school. Not every day, not every weekend, but here and there. And sold drugs. I'm not happy about that. That was after my mom fucked up my scholarship, but did all that, and so jumping forward to the scholarships, I'm at work at Vaughn Safeway grocery store, and mind you, the last 12 years of the work that I put in by myself, I think my dad came to one of my games. Yeah, he came to one of my games. We had a hot dog afterwards. That's right. He came to one of my fucking games in 12 years. My mom came to zero. I bought my own shoes. They were old shoes, and that's fine. I'm not saying this to feel sorry for me. It's just part of my story, and it made me who I am today. So I had to count on myself. And so with the scholarships, I'm at work. My mom gets a call because we have plane tickets to fly to Washington the following day to tour the campus or whatnot. In 20 seconds, my mom told them the wrong information. I'm hanging out with the wrong crowds, this and that. Completely untrue. I wasn't hanging out with the wrong crowds yet. And they went, "Rip, you're not coming here." Boy, did that just crushed me. I was rage isn't even the word. It was bad. And then I had a live-in girlfriend who lived with me during high school, which that should have never happened either. And that was its own drama scene in itself. But almost killed myself over that. I had a 38 up to my head loaded, and my godmother tackled me. You know, that's the only time I've ever tried to really commit suicide. It was a 38 snub nose, by the way, nickel plated. My mom still has it, so it was. I got lucky. I got really lucky. That was higher power stuff because my godmother never was there, and she happened to be there. So that was really 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 higher power stuff. So with that, um, I still played basketball every Sunday with my dad and his cronies, and my after I graduated high school between 18 and I would say 21, um, I got my wife. We got pregnant when she was 17, actually, and she had our daughter a week after she turned 18. And I just had turned 21, and so when we got married in Vegas. I could gamble, do whatever. She couldn't. She was stuck in the room, and I was real selfish. I fucked up that weekend. Let's just put it that way. I own that. I was real selfish and you know messed up that weekend. But I think about this too. If I would have gone to college, I wouldn't have my daughter. So the good, I have to look at the grateful things, and it gets me out of that wah wah headspace victim mode. You know, and my daughter and I are closer than shit. We were just texting right before this happened. You know, um, so during this time, my alcoholism got worse. It started to progress. It went from a few beers to a couple 32-ounce Miller High Lifes to a cube to a bottle of whatever to and it goes on and on. And I came home one day from work, and my wife left me. I guess my wife left me just out of the blue. I come home to a 3-page letter, her crying in the bathtub, and I'm like, what the hell? I had no idea. Had no idea. And that was my world. It was her and Kaylin. Kaylin's my daughter. That was my world. I didn't know any different, you know. But I forgot to mention, after the scholarship got ripped up, that's when I dove in the street. So during this time I'm talking about, when my wife left me, I was banging, soldiering up and working my way up, um, it was all a front. I'm not a tough guy. It was just anger and rage and that false sense of power that was an addiction in itself. And what goes with that lifestyle, you could imagine everything that gives you a head change, pushes down the feelings you don't want to deal with, to make yourself better, to make yourself make yourself secure, so you can cry. Guys like me were taught not to cry or show emotion. Well, I'm telling you now, it's okay. It doesn't make you less of a man at all. It makes you more of a man. Makes you more of a man. And as far as that's how I feel about me, because I heal every time I cry, or I possibly can share something that could benefit somebody in their life. I love recovery. I'm there's a full pie of it, and I'm all about it. I try to do everything that comes with recovery: service work, H&I work, which means talking in prisons and in other places, talking to people in places and things like that, if you're asked. Helping another recovering addict. I have sponsees, which I sponsor. I have a sponsor, and I just basically pass it down. It's a funnel, and we just keep passing it down. And that's how it works, as long as we do it the right way, in my opinion. Tradition based, principle based, and whatever. If that's the A that you're in, or what you choose. There's other ways of recovery too. I know people like church, smart recovery, all these different things. They work. It's just you got to find your cup of tea. You know. So 21, I'm a dad. I'm a dad and a new husband. Scary shit. But I provided. I worked 3 jobs. I worked my ass off despite the street stuff. And I kept all the street stuff away from my family. It was on the other side of town, and I kept it away from them. So to this day, they still don't know a lot about it. and that's fine. They don't need to, you know. Um, I'm not proud of that at all. So anyway, during this time, it just progressively got worse. She left me. My daughter's 4. Um, Prior to that, when my daughter was 3, and we were closer than shit. I had my daughter every night when my wife went to, she didn't need to work, but she just wanted to work a few nights a week, some video shop. And it was me and Kay, man. We had a blast. We'd write down in our little training wheels, right down to Circle K, and I put like 232s in her little basket. There you go, write that home for daddy, you know, and dad of the year, right? As long as you get her some sixlets, it's all good, you know. Um, that's a candy. But you know, at 3, I was already at this time. I have to really watch how I word this because I don't want to embellish my criminal career by any means. Um, I was a shot caller, so I had a lot of guys under me. I made it a well-oiled machine for certain people that ran the town, and it was a big funnel and back up. Okay, um, and then I rode with the big boys, um, motorcycle stuff, and I'll leave it at that. It took me years to get to be here and talk and be alive and be able to talk about this. Um, and I came off a 20-hour ride one night and I had to share this. My daughter was 3. I was 4 in the morning. Comes in, Daddy. Had my cut on. I'm like, hey, baby. And a light went on right there. I don't want her growing up in this shit. Next morning, I started processing my way out. And I won't go in the details of that, but I got the stars and moon lined up for that. Higher power, whatever you want to call it. It lined up for me to, my heart and head were going a different direction. And they let me do that, with a string attached for a while until they cut it. And that's okay. And I still know a lot of bikers, and this time I'm still a biker. I love riding, always will. Nothing like it. So, but with all that, my addiction completely progressed. When you're in that game and you're in that kind of lifestyle, you got to be up, right? How many hours of sleep I got? I was lucky if I got 3 hours of sleep a night. Lucky. No wonder I have anxiety today. It all caught up. So how did I stay up? Ephedrine pills. You used to be able to get over the counter, like popping them like Pez's. Ephedrine pills, alcohol, coke, whatever it might be. And I can name all the drugs. It doesn't matter. The only thing I never did was heroin. I never chased a dragon, and I got lucky. I don't know why I didn't choose that or crack or things like that. I just saw what I did to other people. I'm like, fuck all that. But it didn't matter. It's all the same. You know what I mean? It's all the same because we all used over the same thing. It doesn't matter if what my story is or Joe's story is. If we compare stories and his way different than mine, or we're the same, it doesn't matter. What matters is what we're doing today and how we want to help each other do better for the following day and for our life. How we want to push each other up in life and want the best for them and theirs. You know, um, after I finally, so I had my daughter majority of the time during this time. She was 4. I'm divorced now. So between the ages of 4 and 11, I had my daughter majority of the time. My ex-wife decided to go sow her oats and whatever, remarried, and that's fine. I was never a psycho ex. I'm like, great, and he's a nice guy, whatever. As long as he treats my daughter good, and that's all I give. That's all I give a shit about. That's it, and he does, and so that's okay. And my ex-wife and I get along for the most part actually pretty well. We're a team for our kid, and that's about it. Otherwise, we leave it there. But um, during this time when I worked at Trader Joe's for almost 10 years during this time, and then I worked and came home and drank, took care of my daughter, drank while I cooked, gave her a bath, homework, all that shit, played around, and when I'm watching Lakers or whatever, and half the time my dad would be over there too, and he'd be, shaking up martinis. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I knew what was happening. I just knew it was going to be bad. How it was going to end. And like I said, it progressively got worse. So what happened was, skip a few years up, is I stopped showing up for things. You know, I stopped showing up for shit. I used to go to on K's. My daughter used to go on every field trip. I'd help do photo on my days off, photocopies for the teacher, hang out in class, whatever they needed me to do. And all that slowly started to stop, and my life started to spiral. And I don't even know how I got there. I got there so fast, couldn't even tell you how. Lost my job, even though I was fully vested because I was arrogant and cocky. I can get another job, no problem. Yeah, So I ended up rolling half my retirement over and taking half out. 16 G's in my pocket. That's not very good for an addict or alcoholic. It's the worst thing for you. I'm rich now. What do I have to show for it? Nothing. Maybe some memories of my daughter. I took her to Disneyland like 3 different times with her and her kid for like a weekend trips, and in the meantime, the rest of it went to my gut. Went right here, right down the thing with whatever. So I called my ex-wife one night. I had an epiphany. I was up to drinking a gallon and a half a day of charcoal filtered freaking vodka from CVS. Yummy, huh? Yummy. Not. So I'm sitting there chugging this shit. A gallon and a half a day I had to keep in my system. Otherwise, I would shake, I'd have seizures, I could, whatever. And I was a blackout drinker, obviously. At least I turned into that. I called my ex-wife, and I said, "You need to come pick up Kay. I don't need her. She does not need to be around me right now, and I don't want to be around her right now like this." And so she did. So I'm 210, almost 6'4", right? I was 146 pounds. I was walking death. I was yellow. My eyes were yellow. I had jaundice. It's not good. That was an epiphany. So I called around these rehabs. I looked up some rehabs by myself because I don't really have family per se. I paid for all my shit myself. They don't, to this day, don't, I couldn't get $5 out of my dad if I wanted, a Big Mac. You know what I mean? He's cheap. Plus that'll go, he needs to smear off anyway. But bad jokes. It's just stuff we joke about. It's okay. So I'm up in a gallon and a half a day, 146 pounds. I call this rehab, and I won't name the name of the rehab. It's in Glendale, LA, and that's as much as I'll say. And I ended up having to stay in the hospital for almost a month. Librium, this and that, because I was seizuring, and you could imagine. And finally, when I got down to a certain level where I was able to be an in-house patient for rehab, they sent me back over, and I was in-house for almost 40 days, and it saved my life. I stayed clean for 14 years after that, and I was one of 2 out of 11 people in our group that stayed clean. So if you're in a rehab house right now, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm one of those guys who's very blunt because I want people to know the truth, not blow smoke, not baby you. It's going to be hard. And if you're in a rehab right now or whatever, guess what? You're not all going to make it. But make sure you're that one. Whoever you are, you tell yourself, make sure I'm going to be that fucking one or two. Just keep that in the back of your head. I shouldn't be preaching, but that's what I would do, and that's real advice. That's on the real, and if you need to come back in, you fucking come back in. The door is always open. We don't shoot our wounded here, so it took me 2 weeks to set up my rehab because I was drunk doing it. And Vanessa, the lady who had 25 years at that time, who did my assessment, was very surprised that I showed up and followed through. And she said to me, and I remember this, I was half drunk. She's like, "You are really serious about this. I've never seen anybody else follow through that is drunk." She's like, "You really want this?" I said, "Absolutely. I want this. Not that I need this. I want this. You know, we all need it if you're an addict alcoholic. Welcome to the 90 percentile. When you want it, welcome to the 12 percentile. It's not easy. It's a daily battle, you know, and sometimes it's not a battle. Sometimes it is. That's life. So I go to rehab, get clean, right? Come out 14 years clean. I started with AA my first 8 years. And I had a family friend who was my sponsor. He had 32 years at the time, Mike Moss, God bless his soul. And he's the original who taught me the way, taught me the outline, and bought me literature and introduced me to some people so I could network a little bit. And I know that's scary. It's scary when you're new and you're talking to strangers, you're getting numbers from people, you're like, what the fuck? And then you call them and you're like, and that's what you get. That's the really the scary part for me as a newcomer was that the hugging, the getting used to that kind of stuff and not being a rimmer, being part of the herd, and I was never fully part of the herd, but I definitely was not a rimmer. I was kind of in the middle, but I had service commitments, right? So during this time, my first service commitment was coffee. You know, you don't make coffee, they'll let you know. Trust me, if you miss a coffee date. But I made coffee. It's a year commitment, and it kept me coming back to at least that one meeting. This is before COVID, where you had to drive yourself to physical meetings for 1 hour. And I made coffee. And then at another meeting, I set up chairs. And so I made sure I went to at least 5, 6 meetings a week, especially when I was new. And then even when I got a year and 2 years and years and years, I still went to 3, 4 meetings a week, you know, just because I needed to keep my cup full or half empty, whichever one you want to choose. But, let me rewind for a second here. I'm going to rewind back to my dad, why I call him dad. When he rekindled with me when I was 21, when my daughter was born, he showed up at the hospital. And I didn't invite him. And he looked at me and I said, I didn't invite you. He's all, I'm her grandfather. He's all, I want to be part of your life. I said, all right. And he has ever since. And when we had our talk, he owned everything, hitting me, all the stuff we talked about that bothered me, that affected me. He owned it all, cried about it, gave me a hug, said he's proud of me. Even to this day, he says he's proud of me. He's my hero. To this day, he is my hero. And it's sad because I only can take him in doses because he's drunk half the time. But he's a good man. He's just sick. And that's what I am. I'm sick too. I have a disease. And it's a known fact. Look it up. Brain scans, all this different stuff. It's a fact. When the first book came out, 1939, I think it was, or 38, but they say recovered. When all the other editions came out, which we have 6 now, it says recovering because they found out it was a disease. There's no such thing as recovered. And if there is, show me the well. I'd take a big ass fucking picture of that, or rub a genie bottle. So with getting clean and all this stuff, I had to do work. It wasn't just like I'm clean and I'm going to meetings. I had to do things. I had to do something for myself every day, like a daily reprieve. I get on my knees every day. It's my first action I take. Is I get on my knees and I pray to my higher power, whatever that might be, to guide me through my day, help me with issues yesterday, today, or how I'm gonna, share tonight. Give me the strength to maybe help somebody out there because that's what I want to do. That's why I want to take all this evil inside me and help people with it. So that way I can be that guy that wasn't there for me. I'm that guy now. And so I had 14 years clean. I moved down to San Diego when I had 8 years clean, and we started NA instead of AA out here because AA out here for some reason was really rigid. You had to whisper and everything you had to say God. I'm like, that's completely against what we just read, actually. But it's a higher power of your understanding. God, Buddha, whoever the fuck the ocean. It doesn't matter as long as it's not Trump. Anyway, but so, that's it. Oops, that came out. But with that, I had to start doing step work. So I'm on my 4th round of steps right now. Once you go through 12, you do them again, then you do them again, then you do them again. You never graduate. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I grow every time I go through the 12. I grow. Because I look at the 4th or the 6th or the 7th I did the year prior, holy shit, who's this guy today? How much I've grown. You could see it physically. That's how you see it physically, you know? Because that's what people like, I don't see it. I don't see it. You don't see it. Well, you got to be patient. This program for me, because I don't have patience. I'm an A-type personality. I have an ego like a motherfucker. I want to control everything. I want this shit now. Exactly. The shitty committee, and that gorilla is always on my shoulder, and I got to keep him caged up every day. That's why I do a daily reprieve. With that prayer, I write 3 things I'm grateful for every day. Then I jump into a meeting, help another recovering addict, check my phone, see, talk to my sponsor, whatever. But in the midst of this, I do have a life. You know, I do have a life. I have worked, and I'll talk about my fiance in a second, who I met in the program. But I wouldn't have that if I didn't have recovery. If I didn't have me first and working on me first, don't have any of that. And so, me practicing that every day, in my old town, when I got up to about a year and a half, I met my fiance Audrey, and she had about 3.5 years or so, and we were. I already knew she was pretty and all that. That's great. I wanted to know her eyes, soul, and heart. That's what I wanted to see. And she's gonna sit next to me. That's okay, Joe. So there's Audrey, my higher power.
Welcome,
So
Audrey.
Hi, guys.
sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to do that, but this is a vision of hope for you guys right here. We met in recovery, okay? And how it worked was we didn't even date for 2 years. We were buds. We just got to know each other, talk. We went to some meetings together, maybe a lunch here and there. That's it. And we didn't kiss for the first time in 2 years because I wanted to make sure my intentions were good and her intentions were solid coming into this. And then whatever came of this, we let the cards fall where they may. We didn't force it. And because of that, here we are 12 years later. And we're getting married next year, having kids. We're moving. A lot of great things happening. We couldn't do that without recovery. It has to come first for her, too. And she has her own recovery, and she does it different from mine. We have separate recoveries and then recovery together, you know, and that's life. That's just life. And I've learned through all of these things, I'm trying to just step back on what I haven't talked about yet. How much time do I have, Joe, or how much time have I been going? So 40 minutes I've been talking?
Yeah, you can talk as long as you want, brother. 40
All
minutes,
right,
you're
guys.
good.
Hope you have all night. So, I'm just kidding. I know. I think I'm the funniest guy on earth, and I'm really not. But as long as I laugh at my own jokes, hey, I'm not taking myself so seriously. I'm doing pretty fucking good. Um,
Amen.
yeah, and that's what I've learned in this program. I mean, look at me. I was one of those guys who knocked blocks off just because you looked at me sideways. What an idiot! All that would do would hurt me and put me in jail, and then I feel bad afterwards. You know, sometimes. But now what do I do now? I respond. I don't react. It's a big deal for a guy like me, responding, not reacting. I'm, what would you say? I'm brutally honest. I have a higher power that works through me and dissipates this warrior gene that I have in me,
That's
meaning
butt
anger,
naked honesty.
right?
Butt naked honest.
Absolutely, absolutely, crack and all. And hey, I said it. And so,
Dun-dun-dun.
yeah, the door's closed. So,
You just lost all our viewers.
I have to be brutally honest with myself and everybody else, or I'm doing everybody a disservice, including myself. And because I'm able to work on a daily basis to keep him caged up, first off, and to go about my life and pursue the things I want to do now. And I lost my company in COVID. I mean, a lot of changes happened, but recovery for me, how I see it's an evolving change. It's always changing. It's just about how we write it, how we ride through it, face it. What I haven't talked about, fears. False evidence appearing real. That's what it means to me. A lot of people say fuck everything and run. Da, 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 da. False evidence appearing real. I have it tattooed right here. So it reminds me every day, don't live in fear. It's in here. Thoughts aren't fact, feelings are fleeting. We get thousands a day. thousands. But as an addict, I like to sit in the dark ones, you know, and sit in the dark ones, right? Try to do the victim thing. Hell no. When those dark ones happen, I have a tool belt that I built around out of all the years I've been in recovery that I've built and learned and did a lot of active listening, not just hearing, not just listening, active hearing, active listening. There's a difference. And this is the first time I've shared in 8 meetings. I know this isn't a meeting, but the other 8 meetings I've gone to, regular meetings, I've not shared. I've listened. And that's new for me. And I'm taking my direction from my sponsor. And so I'm glad I get to share today a little bit, and that Joe, I've been excited to do this. I really have. I've been anticipating this just as much as he has, I guess, you know. I met Joe over a year ago, I believe it was, somewhere around there. But we've become close friends in such a short time because we're the same. We're the same in so many ways. It's great. It's wonderful to not feel alone, you know, not to feel judged, you know. And once I work as a newcomer, I work through those fears. I surrender. I know I'm powerless. I understand that I need acceptance. I need to be open-minded. Put my ego and my self-righteous horse over here, because I'm in Joe's show. I'm in the NA show, whatever show I'm in, but it's not the Zach show. And I have to remember that. I have to be a vessel. And I have to talk like I'm a newcomer coming in. What would you want to hear? I don't want to scare anyone off. You know, this is the place to be, guys. If you want this and you want a solution, the solution is, first of all, look in the mirror. Second off, get some literature. Third off, in my opinion, and this is what I'm just naming this off what I do. I work through my fears, I get numbers, and I start calling strangers, and I start creating a network around me of guys I can trust. You know, I weed people out. Can't trust everybody. You know, am I going to like everybody? Nope. Do I have a certain love because of recovery and that's what we do? Absolutely. But when I say to my true friends, like, I love you, I mean that. I love you. Other people's like, yeah, I love you. You know, it's just what you do. But I would still be there for them, you know. But it's the best club to be in by far. I get to live today. I get to feel today. I like the rest of us. We've had a tough couple of years, man. We've all lost people, pets, relationships, whatever, people we love, you know. We just had to put down our dog after 12 years. I miss him. His name was Whiskey. Joe saw him a bunch. 145-pound horse. He was just a big lover, and we had him since he was 3 months, and I still miss him. It's hard for me to talk about him. I haven't processed it yet. And it came out of nowhere. It was tough. And you just don't, you take things for granted. You know, I miss his bark and just little things that you just miss in the morning. And here he is giving me perspective. While he was dying, bleeding internally, this dog is licking my tears. Wow. There's perspective for you. It makes my menial problems go, I gotta change a tire, I gotta do dishes, I gotta get the trash. Really? You're whining about that? You know, that's where I think when I think of stuff like that. And Whiskey's legacy will always live on, at least in me. I'll always hear him. I'll never forget him, you know. And when I started working through my fears and I started creating a network and I started to learn how to have clean fun and do things that I call embrace the suck, things you don't want to do. You don't want to go to a barbecue. You don't want to go to this camping trip. You don't want whatever. Sometimes you maybe push yourself. I got a little nudge. I just push myself to go to a barbecue because you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Just fucking leave. If you don't want to be there, it's real simple. But try it out. You might like it. That's why I say embrace the suck. If it sucks, fucking do it. Because then you might feel better afterwards. Usually you do. For me, at least. That's my experience. If you don't, then just leave. You know? But what it shows when you go to these barbecues, look at all these families having a Coke and a smile, and they're all clean, having fun. Pretty cool. There's your evidence. It works if you work it. It doesn't work if you sit back and expect it. Expectations. Killers. Secrets. Killers. So I have to do things with zero expectations right now, or realistic expectations if I so choose to do something. Small goals to big goals, you know what I mean? And you go there. That's how I do it. But when we do things, especially being new, you jump into the book and you're doing step 1, 2, 3, and you expect everything to be lifted and da 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 da. Well, everyone's recovery is on a different pace. People feel things lifted or feel certain things at it when they feel it. It's that simple. If you're doing the work, you feel it when you feel it, when you're supposed to, when it's not forced. That's what I've learned through me. That's what I feel. When it wasn't forced, I started to finally feel stuff. Things started happening, and I just let it happen. That's called humility. And I had to find that. It's a big deal for me. Is I'm still working on that, is the humility part, you know. And I still will always be working. I don't give a shit if I get 40 years. I'll always be learning and working on myself on a daily to make myself a better man on the daily, to even people, places, and things that have nothing to do with recovery. Just every day, everybody, you know, on earth, you know. And, you know, a big deal, what Audrey and I do, we love the homeless. I was homeless once. I get it. We have a huge heart for the homeless. Soup kitchens we do. We've helped 3 guys get back on their feet. They're doing great, working, clean, part of society, getting their one thing at a time back. License, social security card, drug court stuff I show up for and as a sponsor and talk to them, and it works them out. And I don't, good job, Zach. Good job. It's not about that. It's about doing the right thing. It's about remembering. It's like that song, Mr. Window by Tennessee. It's aging me a little bit. Mr. Window, yeah. Guy was a person. They're people. They're part of the community, and we forget that. And that's why I love that song. I listened to it yesterday. It made me cry. I've been sappy lately, so I might cry just for the fuck of it in a minute. But alls I did was, here's my number, gave them an ear and a little nudge. And what they want, I said, or what I want, I said, I want nothing, guys. I always thought I wanted something. No strings attached, no hidden agenda. Pay it forward. That's it. That's my only suggestion. Just pay it forward when you're able to. They said absolutely. And that's what it's about. It's not about what you get out of it. You know, my sponsees keep me engaged, no doubt. I need to hear from newcomers. I need to hear that. You know, I'm in a dilemma right now where I'm tweaking my program a little bit. I'm finding new meetings to go to. So I'm searching for different meetings to find the ones that fit, you know, where I feel safe being able to share and be vulnerable and share some things I need to share in there. I don't have one of those right now, which would be called a home group. I did, as of right now, I kind of had to step back and hopefully that, you know, head will get pulled out there and it'll get back on track and I'll come back in. You know, it's that simple. You know, but in the meantime, you know, it's been rough. I've been kind of in flux in the last 3 weeks, you know, and it doesn't feel good. It feels weird. And eventually, if I keep going on that track, I'll relapse. I'll tell you why. My 14th year before I relapsed, that whole 14th year, I relapsed before I relapsed. Because I was doing the 0 step. Wasn't doing shit. I was faking it until I was white knuckling it. I was faking it. And I have to be honest about that. And so that's what I mean by that is that's where I know now where I'm at. I know what I need to do. So that doesn't happen again, because I have no more yets in me, meaning I don't have another relapse in me. I'll die. Health reasons, or I'll go to jail. It's just that simple, you know. On the third day when I relapsed, I have to say this. My house was surrounded by cops, ghetto bird, and dogs. That's where I go with it on the third day. Jeez. You know, I'm just so lucky I built a network of guys around me during those, I'll say 13 years. Tight network that I still have, you know, and I added Joe into it. Joe's part of that. I trust Joe and my lady, and they grabbed me by my ears, guided me back in. If I didn't have that, I'd still be out there, or I might be dead. And that's why we build networks. So that way, if you feel you need, you know, a burning desire, you're going to hurt somebody, hurt yourself, go use, go whatever, you have someone to call. There's a way out. That's never it. Picking up is never the answer, ever. You know, killing yourself obviously isn't the answer. Even though, shit, sometimes it's not about I want to kill myself, but sometimes I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to be here, but it doesn't mean I want to kill myself. But when that happens, I know I have people I can call, you know, and I have to take that action. And that is me wanting to live and reaching halfway from my life and halfway in my recovery and the other halfway to my higher power and then what he wants me to do. And hopefully I can make the right choice after that. And usually that does happen. You know, do I make mistakes? Yes, and will continue to make mistakes. That's okay. Get up, persevere, do better, don't do them next time. Make an amends if you need to, which I've had to do many times, as Joe knows. That I come back the next day and make an amends for, you know, being a jerk or whatever, you know. But the other thing I'll talk about is judgment. Principles before personalities, right? Whatever. I practice non-judgmental awareness, which means I judge, no doubt. We all do. We're human. But it matters what you do with that judgment. Do you let it rent space in your head and think about this fucking person while they're in another country, probably, you know, not even thinking, have a thought about you? Nope. So I've had to learn the hard way in that sense. But now I don't give a fuck what I say in here sometimes. When I come in here and I do give a fuck what I say, but at the same time, I don't come in here to say stuff so that person will feel comfortable. I don't critique each box. I stay in my box, and hopefully you stay in yours. Do you, I'll do me. Otherwise, you got something to say? Call me. We'll talk about it. You know? Otherwise, I don't give a shit. What you think about me is none of my fucking business. Unless you want it to be. You know? And I think when we do stuff like that, it takes away from recovery. It takes away from us being engaged and listening to the message. We're just thinking about that person over there, or this, you know, that's drama. I'm not coming in here for drama. I'm coming in here for recovery. I'm coming here to hear something. I'm coming here to learn something. Maybe share something, right? That's what I come in. Maybe I can help somebody. Someone wants my number, and I can, you know, guide him in the right direction, sponsor him, help him with literature, whatever. That's what we do. You know, I can't save anybody, but I can help with what I can help with. And I love doing that. Gets me out of my head. You know, I know I'm almost done here there, Joe. Give me an extra 5. I'm pretty much done. I'm trying to think of what I didn't hit. I'm so blessed today, and I thought I would never say that. You know, I'm a grateful I don't know about that, but I'm not quite there yet. But I know I'm blessed today. There's a purpose for me to be here. I'm going for a cert right now to help guys that just come out of prison and have dual diagnosis problems. I can help them with their affiliation, their identity issues, as well as their recovery issues. Because that's what I needed. I'm that guy now. like I said before. So I'm going for a cert to do that. I'll be working with the parole department. Not happy about that, but my stipulation was I need to be in an annex away from. I can't be around police because how can those guys trust me if that was the case?
You're going after my heart talking about all that stuff.
I know. That's why I said we're more alike than you thought, Joe.
I know.
And that's why I love Joe. I know I'm an empath in a sense. I don't share that very often. Not meaning like I see auras all the time or I can read your palms, but I can even feel stuff through the screen. I can and analytically see how you're saying it, not what you're saying. Joe is solid. Since the first day I met him till now, solid. Rare, diamond in a rough. And I hope he never changes. I hope he, continue learning and gaining knowledge and all that, but never change. He's a good guy. And he's with a
Appreciate
really
it.
good woman as well. And they're lucky to have each other.
Thank you.
And I want a Dr. Pepper too. But yeah, cheers. But I'm lucky to have met Joe. And I got tears in my eyes because it's rare to meet somebody who I feel he's really busy. I mean, him doing this is amazing to me. I don't know how he does it, but even if I call him and just spew, he listens to me and he'll give me some sound advice or some, maybe something I don't want to hear, but need to hear. That's a true friend. Despite a brother in recovery, I consider Joe my friend and Addie as well. That's just because I'm scared of her. But love you, Addie.
Julie said you're describing yourself too. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Julie R said you're describing yourself. So pat yourself on the back.
Okay. If I could reach, God, I'm getting heavy. But it really is like when Joe said I have an hour or whatever time to come on here, and that was a relief to me. That means I can slow down, I can think, I don't have to rush through a 20-minute Reader's Digest version, and people can get to know me better. There's still more to my story. That's still like just a wedge of it. And the next time I speak, I'll talk about the next part of it. And in the meantime, doing steps, more might come out where I might add to my share because I'm willing to talk about those things now in shares, not just to my sponsor or whatever. And that's what I've been working on. So I try to grow on it daily. Okay. I guess what I'm trying to say, if you're new, stay. Fuck jails and institutions. Grim Reapers out there, man. It's never going to get better if you go back out. Ever. Ever. And that's a fact, and I'm not even a doctor. I just know the streets. Stay. It's a way, way, way better life. You don't have to work all day crushing cans to get your fix. You can concentrate on your life and how we do it and just trust the process. And let me tell you, man, things will happen, especially when you're young. You can pursue your dreams, kids, all the stuff you're thinking about. Yeah, that all can still happen. Even in your 30s. I mean, it's not too late. 50s, 60s, doesn't matter. I always clown with my lady because she calls me the god of time, Apollo. And this is why. Because the time's fucking now. There's no right time. Ever. The time's now. Go use for 3 more years, and then when the time comes you have to go to rehab, guess what? That time will be now. And it could have been 3 years earlier. Same time. If that makes sense to anybody. I'm very passionate about NA and recovery. I sometimes come off aggressive or whatever. I'm just very passionate because it has saved my life and so many others that I know. Even though it's taken a lot of people's lives, it has saved so many as well. And they're thriving. It's good to see Joe growth, man. I remember from day one till now, I would have never imagined me be hitting here talking on his podcast. Amazing growth. And you know why? Because he works it. That's why. He inspires me. Doesn't matter how much time we have. We're all the same. You know? But he's in action. I like people who are in action. Those are the people I want to be with. Not the people just sitting around and not doing anything and just hoping and praying and just whining. Fuck that. Do something about it. Call somebody. You know? If you don't change anything, nothing fucking changes, right? I guess that's called common sense. What is that? Right? All this to keep it simple is one of our cliches. Keep it simple, stupid. I have accept the things I cannot change tattooed right here. Keep it simple, man. If you're new, one thing on a time, just one, this is going to just do up, and never stop. I have to learn how to put one thing on a shelf. And if I can get just one thing done, I'm cool. Otherwise, if that keeps going, I'm going to get 0 things done. It's a start. I keep things really simple now. I try not to preach. I try to. I'm still learning. I'm learning how to deliver I statements in me, and not like you should be doing this and da da da. That's not what I mean. It's just I got taught by old schoolers, man. Yeah, I agree with that down there, Joy Love. But and that's not most people. Well, yeah, it is. It's majority. Including our government. Anyway, so God damn, they keep slipping. Sorry. But
You're gonna have Secret Service at your house tonight.
awesome. I'll go for a walk. But a long one. But because of people like Joe and other people that I know in my network, you know, trust, abandonment issues, coming here seeking validation, wanting to be liked, and all that stuff, all very true. It's all traumatic stuff that you eventually learn to you get out in the steps and the work, meaning basic text, right? My favorite book, the Living Clean book of NA, which is basically just breaks down the basic text, is what it does, in my opinion, and has a lot of good topics. And I have other books too. I have a million books of everything. AA, this, every A, all these books everywhere, you know. Audrey always orders them. And but it's this is the last thing I'll say. This is the best thing that'll ever happen to you or be offered to you. And it's free. Ever. All you have to do is just be a little open-minded. Understand that your life is like, look at your life around you and decide then if your life is powerless, it's unmanageable, and then you become open-minded. And when that happens, a lot of other stuff happens. You find your higher power, God, Jesus, whatever it might be. You find your people, you find your network, you find your meetings, you find your sponsor, and you go from there. Just keep it simple, you know. Just listen for a while, you know. People will show you the way, you know. And I hope it's the right way, and I hope you find the right meetings. I hope I made some sense here tonight. I feel like I didn't. I wanted to be more profound and really be, you know, bring down the fucking house, you know. But I'm full of love right now. I feel really good right now. I feel really good. I appreciate it, Joe. And I can't wait to see him grow more and him see me grow more, and and Addie too, and you know us all see each other grow up a little bit and where we go in life and keep in touch. It's really neat in that aspect. It's really, really, really cool. It's hard work, guys, but it's very doable. Very doable. With that, God, I want to say more, but embrace the suck, guys. Embrace it.
I was
Embrace the
waiting for that.
Yeah, embrace that fourth step. Don't be as scared of it. And if it sucks, give it a shot. Might feel better afterwards. Joe, I love you. My name's Zach. I'm an addict. Thank you, guys.
You know I love you, brother. If I shared back on everything you shared, you did bring the fucking house down, and I appreciate it, man. You know I love you. Um, and we've grown so much together in the last year and a half through some shit show meetings, in recovery groups. But
Circuses.
yeah, circuses, exactly. But man, we got through it, brother. We just never gave up, and we stood tall, and we kept pushing through it. That whole react and respond scenario, um, the fight or flight. I relate to all that. Um, Not being able to show emotion, growing up and being taught not to show emotion. We're guys. We're not supposed to cry. There's no crying in recovery. You know what I mean? Like things like that. I relate to that. I allowed my emotions and that fear, um, to hold me back for decades. And there's no certain time when people are supposed to get it. I don't care if you're 20 or if you're 60. It doesn't matter because everyone recovers at different rates. My seed didn't start growing until a year and a half ago. You know what I mean? To where I really finally started embracing the suck. And, finally fucking water hit that seed and I started to grow, bro. The cliche sayings that keep coming back. And it works if you work it. And the big burly hugs from the fat guy in suspenders in the second row that, I fucking despised and couldn't stand. The guy that smelled like gasoline and wood chips.
Beautiful.
Um, it all started making sense, man.
I'm like Texas cheese massacre.
I loved it, and I love it today. The sayings of, well, no matter what A you participate in, they all started making sense. They just made sense. So yeah, I mean your story, it's inspiring, man. Every time I hear you share, it's different. Every time you share, I hear something new. And I appreciate everything you said, to me and Addie, but ditto, bro. Because like you inspire us too.
Absolutely.
You're just as solid. You're just as good of a friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, we love you guys both, and I appreciate
Likewise.
you coming on tonight, man. I'm trying to keep up with the comments, man. I mean, you've got comments flying left and right. Um, I've been trying to
Kind of
pop them
everybody.
up.
Thank you, everybody. That's
We've
very kind. Thank you.
we've literally got people around the world from New Zealand to England to the States in
Appreciate
here tonight. I mean, it's an amazing thing to see. I mean, it just shows you how strong the fellowshipping and the we of no matter what program you work, how strong it can be. And together we're stronger. We can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I had to get out of my own way and get out of that stinking thinking and let go and let my higher power guide me.
Wait,
Um,
and stop putting what in the what?
but oh yeah, I had to give myself a break and quit pumping quarters in that ass kicking machine
Yeah.
and give
There's your
myself a break.
there's yours.
Because I've kicked my own ass for decades, guys, and I got tired of kicking my own ass. You guys are all worth it. You all can do it. You're all badass recovery warriors, each and every one of you guys out there listening tonight. And together we're stronger. Together we can do this. You know, this is inspiring. I say this all the time, and I share this all the time, and I'm going to share it again tonight. Next to my higher power of my understanding, the most powerful tool in my recovery toolbox, personally for me, is the lived experience, the power of your story of each and every one of you guys out there. That's what inspires me. That's what keeps me pushing every day. That's why I share every day. It is so important to share your story, to share your experience, strength, and hope. If you're having a shitty day, you fucking share about it. If you're having a great day, you share about it. Life's going to show up. It's not going to be rainbows and unicorns every fucking day of your life. Life's going to show up and you share about it. You get out of your own way and quit kicking your own ass. Put your big boy girl pants on, put your big boy pants on and show up. You got to suit up and show up daily and remain vigilant in your recovery. Otherwise, you're in trouble. I'm in trouble. I get back in here. The shitty committee kicks back in, and I start beating myself up. And then that isolation comes back, that anxiety, that depression. I could go on and on, guys. I'm preaching to the choir, and I know I am. But it's the truth. And I allowed that vicious cycle of hell and chaos with my mental health struggles to control me and affect me daily. And I just simply choose not to do that today. It doesn't mean that I don't have bad days. I have shitty days just like everybody else, but it's a choice every single day, whether I sit in my own shit and beat myself up or I get into the solution and I pick up that phone. I get into a meeting. I use the tools in my recovery toolbox. A good friend of mine locally, Scotty, here in town, Scotty Mays. Anybody in the local area that knows Scotty will tell you to rip that fucking lid off of that recovery toolbox and throw it away. Leave it open, leave it at your disposal 24/7 because you just never know when the devil's going to be out there barking at you. And believe me, he's waiting. He's waiting for us to drop our guard. He's waiting for us to slip up, to relax a little bit. That's why I say remain vigilant in your recovery. It is so important, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
It really is like what's doing that every day, right? Let's say 15 minutes to an hour for the rest of your life every day doing that. Not too hard.
No,
And
not at all.
yeah, compared to what we used to be doing, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, I
it's
switched
not
the
that
screen
hard.
over. It's like I couldn't keep up with the chat, man. I was just gonna let them roll up the side, but now
That's fine.
everybody's being quiet on me. But yeah, I mean, you've got props from all over the place, man. We got viewers around the world. I appreciate you
Any
coming
thumb
in.
downs? Is there any thumb down ones?
I don't know.
I
Well,
don't give a
i-
shit.
i- if there's any thumb downs, you know what? Like you said earlier, not everyone's gonna like you,
Three
bro.
fingers coming
Not
back.
everyone. Yeah, I mean,
Take what you like and leave the rest.
yeah, take what you like, leave the rest. If you don't like it, call your
I was just
sponsor.
joking,
I'm
but
not. Call your sponsor if you don't like what he had to say tonight. I'll say it.
so true.
All right, man. I won't keep you guys any longer. Look, I appreciate each and every one that stuck it out and listened to Zach's experience, strength, and hope. Zach, Audrey, you guys, you're loved all the way from Ohio. I wish I could reach through the screen and hug you guys because I would.
Likewise. Here she
Uh,
comes.
I would much rather be in California right now because it's probably 20, 25 degrees in Ohio and it sucks.
Yeah, it's
But
nice here.
that's Ohio. But I appreciate you guys. I do. I love you guys. And I'm glad this worked out, Zach. I'm glad that we could finally get this knocked out. And I appreciate it. I
Well, I
just
just
want
want to
to,
say one thing. I appreciate you. I appreciate just you being my friend and being a brother in recovery, and Addie as well, sister wise. And thanks again for this opportunity. You know, to share my experience, strength, and hope, and thanks for having this forum to do that. It's really awesome that you're doing this,
thank you.
and just keep doing what you're doing, Joe. You
You
know,
too.
I will, and I love you. I love you both, and I hope we can get together as a couple sometime and we out in Ohio, or when you guys come out here, we'll get together. So,
Absolutely.
and thanks for
Absolutely.
everybody's comments and compliments and everything else. I love you all, and just I feel it. That's why I feel very blessed right now.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for having him.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to end it a little different because
Okay.
we've talked a lot about gratitude in that, and you guys have been in the California meeting with me before, and whenever I share my experience, strength, and hope, and lead the meeting, I end with a gratitude prayer. And I'm going to end it tonight with that. It's a meaningful prayer to me, and I know it's probably a meaningful prayer to a lot of guys and women out there. Just remember, guys, we all have a choice daily. There's opportunity presented to us daily, and it's a choice whether we go after it or we sit in our own shit. Um, I highly recommend chasing your recovery like you used to chase your drug of choice and go after it. Remain vigilant in your recovery daily, day in and day out. Have that attitude of gratitude, guys, and stay positive. And if you fuck up, that's okay. Just remember, no matter what, don't pick up. If the day goes bad, no matter what, just do not pick up.
Amen.
I'm going to bring up this prayer, and I'm going to close with that. Thank everybody for being in here tonight. Please share the stream and like the page if you haven't. Thanks again, Zach and Audrey. I appreciate it, and I love you guys.
Love you guys too.
Thank you.
Thank you. The gratitude prayer goes like this, guys. I've recovered something I've never had, something I've never imagined possible, the life of a recovering addict. Thank you, higher power, and more than words can say. I love that prayer. Thanks, guys, for being here tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We will definitely be back on live tomorrow night. I'll be solo tomorrow night. I love you guys. Until then, we will catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. I love you.
Love you too. Talk to you soon, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.